Okay, back to the UK then, and inflation. And the Telegraph a day or two ago had this yesterday. In fact, this article: the Bank of England's ineptitude has become humiliating. And I just wanted to highlight a little bit of this. Is Ben Marlow, who's the chief city commentator in the Telegraph. Whether it's Andrew Bailey and the Monetary Policy Committee, the Federal Reserve, or Christine Lagarde, these figures were all seen by most experts as people who can do no wrong. The markets hang on their every word. Their speeches are pored over for the slightest change in phrase, as though they aren't mere mortals but real life wizards waving a magic wand over the global economy. But the truth is they're nothing of the sort, and it only takes a dispassionate look at the track record of the world's preeminent central bankers to see that these unelected, unaccountable officials have made a litany of mistakes. Even worse, they've fessed up to none of them. So this is all about inflation, of course, and it's interesting to see the Telegraph, traditionally a supporter of the City of London, the Bank of England, seeming to attack in this way.
They left out Janet Yellen off that list too, which is pretty shocking.
Indeed. But this wasn't the only sort of, shall we say, recognition that it was monetary policy from the powers that be that has caused the inflationary process at the moment, and perhaps not so much wars in Ukraine and other things, and Russia in particular. But let's look at Andrew Sentence here, who's a former Monetary Policy Committee member. So he used to help set the interest rates at the Bank of England, and he was giving evidence to the Treasury Select Committee a couple of days ago. And he said, we had this long period of extremely low interest rates and further injections of quantitative easing after the immediate problems and the financial crisis have passed. That all, I think, has contributed over a period of time to the inflationary pressures that we're seeing now. It did seem that quantitative easing went on for too long. We had more than a doubling of the amount of QE during the pandemic, and it wasn't clear that this was the appropriate policy at all. So he's absolutely coming out against, we'll come on to that in a second. He's coming out against QE and using very similar explanation to that David Scott has given over the last number of weeks. So it's interesting to see somebody like that making these comments. And Patrick was just about to comment on his badge. If we put it back on the screen for a second.
That beautiful, lovely lapel. What is that? It's blue and yellow.
Yes.
Isn't it? What does that signify? Maybe he's sending a subliminal message as to why the inflation is running out of control.
Maybe he is. While he's saying one thing, he's hinting at another. But let's just remind ourselves what government policy is on this, because Jeremy Hunt said this a couple of days ago. We have a plan, and we're going to reduce the pressure on families. It's absolutely essential we stick to that plan and we see it through so that we have inflation this year, as the Prime Minister has promised. And what I really wanted to make the point here is that this is not going to reduce pressure on families at all. Remember, inflation is a measure of a rate of change. It's showing how much or how quickly prices are rising. If inflation falls from its current 10.1% back to 2%, even if it did that overnight, that would not cause prices to fall. That only means that prices aren't rising as quickly as they did before.
It's like the dead cat bounce, right?
Exactly. So the point is, the pressure that people are facing at the moment doesn't get relieved by having inflation at the end of this year or by the end of this year. All that means is that the pressure isn't increasing just as quickly as it did before.
Oh, you say that, Mike, but they're all going to be crowing about the great job they did when inflation reduces, but is still running out of control. They'll take credit for it, won't they?
Yes, they will. Now, I wanted to bring a lady on screen. Here she is. This is a tweet from Windsor Police in Canada. This is Toronto, a region of an area of Toronto, and they produced a news release as a result of an effort to find this lady. And now we may say she's got some stubble there. She does.
That's no lady, Mike.
Indeed, it's a bloke. So let's have a look and see what happened. Update: the suspect in this incident has turned themselves into the police. We want to thank the public for their support, for sharing our post. Our help in spreading the word, your help in spreading the word played a crucial role in bringing about a resolution. So what happened here? Well, let's look at the press release. Here it is, and what they say. So on the 4th of April 2023, a female victim contacted the police to report that she'd been sexually assaulted while staying at a Windsor women's shelter. The suspect, who was also residing in the shelter at the time, allegedly climbed into the victim's bed and sexually assaulted her. So, Vanessa, what we have here is that the authorities in Windsor in Toronto decided that the best thing they could do was to put this trans person into a women's shelter where he then sexually assaulted a genuine female in that shelter. And I just got to ask, when is this insanity going to end?
I have no idea, but it is. It'd be interesting to look at the figures of sexual assault since the whole kind of trans movement aspect was brought into play more heavily, and see if there has been an increase. I would kind of bet quite a large amount of money that there has been.
Yes.
Go back to the
You want to go back to
rap
the
sheet. That
Yes.
Desiree Anderson, otherwise known as Cody Detremont,
Yes.
the French Canadian. Desiree Anderson. You got to give full marks for the creativity on the name. This is just ridiculous.
It is.
This is really ridiculous.
Well, look, we're just about at the end for today, but I want to remind everybody that on Sunday at 3 p.m., we, of course, are going to be testing, or the government is going to be testing its emergency alert system across the UK. 3 p.m., that's going to be taking place. Just wanted to remind everybody that if you've got an iPhone, which is running iOS earlier than 14.5, or if you're running an Android phone that's running Android 10 or before, then you don't need to worry because they're too old to be bothered with it. But if you want to opt out, then you need to get into your settings. It's pretty much the same process whether you're using an iPhone or an Android phone. You get into your settings, you look for emergency alerts and severe alerts and switch it off, and away you go.
Okay.
But 3 p.m. on 3 p.m., Patrick's just decided to go and have a look to see what he can do.
All right. Okay.
At 3 p.m. on Sunday. Hopefully, if you're watching the Alternative View live stream with us on Sunday, you will not hear anybody's phones going off during that.
I'm torn whether to disable it or just to see what it's like.
Yes.
I don't know, because I sort of want to know what it's like. I kind of know what it's going to be like. It's going to go
Sort of. We did show a little video clip with an example of what it's going to sound like. But if you're vulnerable, likely to have a heart attack, or driving your car, probably best to switch your phone off or put it in airplane mode at 3 p.m. on Sunday, and then you won't be bothered.
Yeah, if you're suffering from free-floating anxiety from all the fear-mongering news that everybody's putting out, you might want to disable it. If not, then it should be a
bit of fun.
A nice bit of fun at the pub on Saturday.
Yeah, Sunday, 3 p.m.
Oh, Sunday.
Okay. Yes. All right. We will be back. Well, if you're watching the Alternative View live stream on Sunday, we'll see you there. But otherwise,
St. George's Day is this weekend. It's tomorrow, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so.
What?
St. George's Day. This is the British holiday, right? This is number one. Pretty much.
Vanessa?
Can I just say Eid Mubarak, as Patrick said at the beginning, to all everyone in Syria and to all Muslim friends worldwide.
Okay, so
we've got Eid and St. George's Day falling at the same time. That's fantastic.
Excellent. So excellent. Right, we'll be back in a couple of minutes for some extra. Otherwise, Sunday for AV live stream and Monday for UK Column News again. We'll see you then. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.